Hi everyone! I should scooch over a little. Hi guys, I am Rebecca from ChemKnits, and I'm here today for some fun announcements. We just had a ChemKnits Creations restock with a lot of beautiful, fantastic yarn, and I'll go through and show you some of the pretties. Also, I'm going to be doing a really big live stream tomorrow, doing some dip dyeing of mystery colors, so I'm going to chat about that. And yeah, we're going to chat about, I guess, some tomorrow. And yeah, there's lots of fun stuff coming up. I've got some mail on the way. Some Knit Picks boxes are coming. I've got subscription boxes coming from 2 different companies. One of them, you know what's coming. And that should come soon, hopefully. And then the other one is new. So I'm really excited about that one. Yeah, we're going to have a really fun month. So the dip dye stream tomorrow starts at 9:30 a.m. Eastern time. I'm in Massachusetts. And I know daytime streams can be hard for people to make, but you can, the replay will be available if you miss me live. Whoa, I'm on your TV? Okay, that's pretty cool. But then my head must be huge. Yeah. I wish I could like easily show you my setup. I'm like, so this little view behind is like of a bag. I guess you can see the scale in my hands. So it's right next to me, so that way I can like show off the yarn. But I'm like right next to it, so I could like scooch. Scooch, so that's the sense of like how, like there goes my hand into the bag. Yeah. I don't know, I'm really excited that I got all of the stuff added into the shop. Yeah, there's a lot of new cotton yarn, a lot of fingering weight yarn. Oh, the shop is ChemKnits Creations on Etsy. You can find a link both in the iCard, which hopefully that's showing up. Yeah, it's in the iCard, which is the little eye symbol in the corner. But you can also find it in the video description, and I'll be dropping links in the chat throughout tonight. So I want to start off and tell you a little bit about what's going to happen tomorrow morning. If you've gone to the ChemKnits Tutorials channel page today, you might have seen a scheduled live stream tomorrow morning, which is July 3rd, 2018. And at 9:30 a.m. Eastern, I am going to dye at least 6 skeins of yarn in surprise colorways. And it's going to be a surprise because I'm not planning on what the colors are. I think if you hover, if you want to see the iCard, if you hover over the side, then it like looks like a little eye with a circle. But here is the, I'll drop a link in the chat too. Just to make it easy. Yeah, so tomorrow the colorways are going to be surprise mysteries, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to place all of my Wilton's colors. And maybe I'll spike with some like black and purple or violet in there. But I'm going to put all my favorite, not all my favorite, but all the Wilton's icing colors that I have on hand in a bowl. I'm randomly going to pick 2. And that's going to be, those 2 colors will mix together to create something really beautiful. And now, what's not going to be random is they're all going to be a 50-50 mix. So if I pull, say, violet and a yellow, then maybe I'll decide to have one be I'll do like a 3-to-1 ratio or something, so that way things don't just all go brown. But even brown is beautiful. So I'm not expecting things to go muddy. If you remember in the live stream a long time ago, you guys said that I should mix copper and teal. And I was a little nervous because that was like, you know, an orangey shade plus a green. And what we ended up with was this really beautiful green and like teal gradient when we dip dyed it to break those colors. And so it ended up being really fantastic. And that's why if I was to go and pick the combinations, I think I know like the combinations that I want to do and the combinations I do a lot. And so I sort of wanted to go outside the comfort zone and literally think outside the box on this one. So I'm going to be randomly drawing colors, and I will draw them in batches of 3 because I can have 3 pots going at once in my stove because of the pots. Oh, maybe I could do 4. I'm planning to have 3 pots going at once. So I'm going to draw the first 3, and then once those are in the pot, we'll draw the second set of 3. And yeah, it's going to be really, I'm really excited. I think I'm going to set up like a chalkboard behind me so I can write up the colors. And yeah, I think that we're going to have a really, really good time. But the bonus of this is, for the first time really since I've set up my Etsy store, I'm going to be taking pre-orders. So the way that that works is you can pre-order one of the mystery surprise dip dyed beautiful skeins of yarn that I'm going to dye tomorrow. And if you purchase one of these slots before the live stream starts tomorrow, you can get 20% off. So for example, if you wanted, there's a choice between, and I think, oh, I didn't double check. I think that it's basically 4 bases. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. So there's 4 bases and then 2 sort of surprise options. And basically you pick the yarn base you want. You pick the number you want in the queue. And you know that, like when I draw your colors, those will be the colors that you get. But you can have the yarn base that you want. And so the options are, there's a stroll base, which is a favorite here on the channel. It's 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon. There is the hawthorn base, which is a new favorite of mine. This one's a 2-ply. It has a little less yardage than the stroll, but it's still really wonderful. This is 80% superwash wool, I think fine Highland wool. Yeah, superwash fine Highland wool, 20% polyamide. And I can tell you in the video what the bases are, but in the Etsy store, I can't say like hawthorn or stroll because I think that those names are trademarked by Knitpicks. So you can see what I've called them by the fiber content in the description. There will be wool of the Andes is a choice, which is a non-superwash yarn, just 100% Peruvian Highland wool, worsted weight. And then the other choice is Swish DK, which is 100% superwash merino. And the reason why these are the 4 choices is 1, they will all dye with food coloring beautifully. 2, I had at least 6 of each of them, so if that really gives everyone a full choice, and that made that less complicated. And then yeah, and so then after that, there's two other options. There's a surprise sock option where you would get either stroll or hawthorn, and then there's a surprise yarn option where you could get one of the 4 that I mentioned, or something else in my stash. It's guaranteed to be 100 grams of a predominantly wool-based yarn. But it would be something fun. So yay, I'm glad you can make this stream. So those are the bases the base options for tomorrow. And so again, if you order tonight, you can get this mystery surprise yarn at 20% off my usual list price for these bases. And I know that, you know, it's a little more of a risk, especially since I don't know what the colors are going to be, but I think that it might make it a little easier to join the fun. And if there's still slots available in the morning when I start the stream, I'll start the stream, I'll do a last call, and then the 20% discount will drop down to a 5% discount during the stream. And the yarn base options will also decrease to be a surprise sock yarn base. And the reasoning for that is that I need to have the yarn bases pre-soaked, and it's possible that during the live stream that someone could buy one that I've already pulled the colors for, or that is already in the pot. And so then the choice isn't something that could be made at that point. So that's why starting at 9:30 a.m. Eastern time tomorrow, if there's slots still available, you'll get surprise sock, which will be one of my 2 favorites. And so I think that that's awesome. Yay, I'm glad. Yes, I need you to pick a number, Tyra. But the surprise me is more of a surprise yarn base, but I have it set so there's one of each of the numbers available. And yeah, and then there's a chance, depending on my stamina tomorrow, that I could go beyond 6, but I'm going to commit to 6 because I know I can do that in 2 batches. Yes, I can do a mini recap. The details here, let me drop the link. It's a little complicated. The long and short. Oh, it won't let me. Oh, I know why it won't let me drop that in. Here we go. Because it had some hopefully it'll let me drop this link in. There we go. Okay, I dropped the link to the listing in the chat. So tomorrow I'm doing a surprise mystery dye-along where I'm going to have a bowl with all my Wilton icing colors. I'm going to pick 2 colors and we're going to mix them together and dip dye some yarn to see what kind of breaking colors we get. And we could get things that are unexpected and really, really beautiful. And so then, but I'm also offering pre-orders. So you could choose the yarn base, which number you are in the queue, and then, what I draw, those will be the colors that you'll get. And so then once the yarn is dry, then I'll ship it off to you. And so you can have, something that was dyed with you in mind. And so the discount is, I guess, a little more complicated part, but any purchases made before the live stream begins tomorrow morning will be 20% off. During the live stream itself, everything will be 5% off the listing price. So if there's one unclaimed, we can see the colors that end up, and then someone can claim it still during that sale. And then after the live stream is over, all the discounts will go away, and you can still shop the replay for a little while. So how do I dry the yarn, and how long does that take to dry? It can be a little variable. I air dry the yarn. So I have a salad spinner that I'll use to sort of spin out some of the excess water, but it's really humid right now, really, really humid here right now. So it could take a few days. I have on the Etsy listing a processing time of 1 to 2 weeks. I do not expect it to take 2 weeks. And I expect that within a week I should be able to get it out. But, woo, I see. My fun notification. Thank you. You know who you are. I would give a shout out, but I don't want to disclose if someone doesn't want to. So if you'd like a shout out, let me know and I'd happily give you one. So I have from IKEA this really, really huge drying rack that has this horizontal space. So frequently, it's a large clothing drying rack, and I use that. And frequently, I'll try to hang the yarn over multiple of the bars if I can, if I have enough space to do that, because it helps more airflow. The Etsy link's not working. Oh dear. I'm trying it out. Sometimes YouTube. Okay, that Etsy link just worked for me. If you go to, let me just try the shop. If you just go to the ChemKnits Creations shop, which I just dropped in the shop, you should see the listing. It's in the featured listing. It's a pre-order mystery surprise yarn. And yeah, that's right up there. Woohoo! Yay, Tyler, thank you! I was like, if you celebrate in the chat, then I feel like I could say the name. Otherwise, I was like, oh, for privacy, I probably shouldn't. But I'm really excited. I didn't check to see what base you picked. Ooh, dye-light breaking yarn. That would be really, really fun. You guys are really good at coming up with names. Naming colorways and things is not my strong suit at all. But I am just really, I've been wanting to do this for a while, and for timing, or like there was cellulose week and other stuff, that it just didn't fit in at a time where I actually had time to do the dyeing and space on the drying rack. And so I am just really, really, really excited. Oh, fun! Okay, I'm gonna have fun. I'm just excited to play. I love dip dyeing. It's one of my favorite techniques to do. I find it soothing, and thank you, someone. Yeah, all right. So sorry, I was getting distracted. Yes, I have a room. Well, I have a bathtub that we don't really use, and so I have it set up in there. Because my bathroom has like a shower and a separate like tub, and we don't really use the tub, so and the drying rack fits in it perfectly, and that way things drip. It drips and can go down the drain instead of on a floor or something. I used to put like towels underneath it that I would change out, but using a solid spinner really does help things dry a bit faster. I think in the winter it might take 2 days for yarn to dry. I know it's very exciting. So I didn't set it. It's the like Etsy default. Yeah. But yeah, in the summer it takes a little longer for stuff to dry, but I try to spread it out as much as I can. If you're serious, then I mean, I'm contemplating. I don't know if Keith's watching right now. I'm contemplating a spin dryer, which doesn't dry. It's rather than like the solid spinner that you press to spin. It's like electric, and it'll take out a little more water. What do I recommend for people with limited space? Maybe a towel. Well, actually, they make collapsible. I mean, this would require something that you had to install onto a wall, but they make collapsible drying racks. My grandparents used to have one downstairs, and so it would only take up about this much space when it was collapsed, but then you could expand it and then have multiple spots for air drying laundry. And so something like that would be space saving. Wait, the spin dryer is only $70? I was thinking it would be hundreds. I might. Well, the other thing is, usually the most I ever dye in one day is like, and this was like pushing, was like 12 or 15 was like my biggest for a day. Because the way I dye is a little different from some other independent dyers, because I usually frequently don't do multiples in one colorway, so I don't end up as much volume. But yeah, no, it's my pleasure to ask questions. That's why I like doing these things live, because I think that it just makes it more fun for everyone. But thank you to our other friend who decided to join in on this. If you want me to give you a shout out, just claim your purchase in the comments, and then I'll say hi. But otherwise, I really appreciate it, and I'm curious now. Yeah, the drying rack I have is collapsible, so. Oh, good. Okay, so we're gonna have some variety right now. We've got a surprise. We've got a DK superwash, and we've got a wool of the Andes. So we've got a good like, a good mix starting out. This is gonna be really, really fun, because I also like to do controls and stuff, so I tend to like stick with one base, and I thought it would be fun to look around. You loop yarn around a hanger and hang it on a wall hook, and it installed over a central air vent. Huh. That would be Yes, I've seen people use hangers and stuff as well. But anyway, it's the setup's a little complicated for tomorrow, but I think we're gonna have so much fun. And yeah, you know, and depending on how this goes, that maybe, like, I don't know. I just think that it's fun, and I like getting surprises and stuff in the mail, but it's kind of fun that you can, like, watch the surprise happen tomorrow. Hi, yeah, I think it'll be fun. Have I not done a dyeing live stream since my injury? I mean, I did the celebration one during my injury, but I'm not sure if I've done one in a while. Summer gets busy, and some of the cotton stuff takes a little longer. There's a lot of, like, set and then leave for an hour or something, and so that's not as exciting for a live stream. But anyway, I'm gonna make my head itty bitty. Do you need a dyeing board to separate the yarn? I'm not quite sure what you mean. I don't. So, for example, the hawthorn, here's the hawthorn base from Knit Picks. It comes already, like, in this looped skein, and there were some strands deciding to be, and it's got 2 ties on it already. I'm bad, and I don't add more ties, especially for something like dip dyeing, because you can keep a good hand through the loop, and so it doesn't tend to get super tangled or anything. But it is better practice to actually add more ties. Right, no, I know I did the epic one on the boot, but I couldn't remember if there's another one. So before dyeing the yarn, oh, do I need a drying board? So I pre-soak, and you can put something through you can put it through a salad spinner to remove a little bit of the water, but I think it depends a lot. Like, I usually will pre-soak, but you don't always have to. It depends on the kind of effect that you want. So, but anyway, I'm gonna make myself smaller to show you some of the new pretties. Yeah, so if you're worried about tangles, add more ties. Just absolutely add more ties. Actually, instead of just making myself small, I think I'm gonna make my face go away. So I can show you guys some of the pretties. Oh, yay! Thank you guys for shopping. This is really fun. Oh, and you can't even see my face now. But let me show you some of the new, although maybe I should double check. Oh my goodness. Okay. You guys are awesome. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, awesome. When you guys, here, I'm going to bring my face back up. Thank you guys so much. When you make, you know, when you're buying yarn from me, you help make all of these videos and all of this content. It helps support all of that. So I really appreciate it. And then when you're buying from the shop, you get some fun yarn. So it's, I think, a win-win-win-win-win. All right, let's show you some of these pretties that are from the Restock. Gotta get, like, the camera's both backwards and upside down. So this yarn, and I shared it on Instagram and some other places, but this is the Cotton Boucle, one of the new yarn bases from Knit Picks. And I am so much in love with this base that I am so much in love with this yarn base that I went and I ordered some more. This is 100% cotton, and it's a boucle, but it's really pretty subtle. It's a thick 2-ply, 1 thick strand, 1 thin strand, and I did this dry speckling technique that spreads out and it looks like a watercolor. What's the difference between space dyeing, low immersion, and dip dyeing? That is a great question, and I will pop my head back up for that one. That's a great question. So space dyeing and low immersion dyeing can be very, very similar technique-wise. In both of those cases, you usually have the yarn in a pot already, and then you pour dye on top of it. And because the yarn is already in your pot, the dye will strike to the yarn as it hits it. So you can add multiple colors in one pot. And if you have less water, in the case of low immersion dyeing, the colors won't spread out very far at all because the yarn is in the way, and it'll strike, the dyes will strike on the yarn before it can spread further. And so, yeah, it's a lot of fun. So those are like very related. Dip dyeing is where you start with you have your dye pot and you have the color in there, and then you start dipping the yarn into it. Now you could do like a long dip where you eventually get color over the whole skein, or you could dip just a portion of the yarn to get some color in one section, and then you could dip, you know, another overlapping section in another color, etc., 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 to have sort of a little more control over the color. Now, depending on the kind of pan you use, if you have a longer pan, you can get a pretty controlled colorway with low immersion dyeing. But with dip dyeing, you tend to have as much, like a lot of control. When colors break, you don't necessarily have control over that, but yeah, it is a lot of fun. So, and I can't see the comments. So, oh, it's my pleasure to answer questions. Yeah, and so with my dyeing live streams, the replays will always be up on the channel, and I know some people will watch me at 2x speed. And so but you can also sort of like scroll the bar to see where like some of the dyeing is actively going on. And that will be up, and I always try to do a recap. So once the yarn is dry, before I even, you know, probably the same day that I'm going to label it to ship out your beautiful mystery surprise colorways, before I do that, I will film a recap of them side by side, and I'll talk a little bit, you know, it'll be just a couple minutes long, and I talk about the colors, so that way it's also a lot easier to get the colors true, because sometimes with the webcam, the colors don't really read the way they are in real life, and you don't always get the resolution from a live stream. So, yeah, it's a lot of fun. Thank you, Stephanie. I hope that you're going to enjoy it. Do we have, I think we've got like a great spread of these bases. It's awesome. Can you use plastic containers to dye yarn like from Walmart? I don't know about what Walmart has, but these are some Dollar Tree like dish pans. And so they're $1, and I use them. I wouldn't use them with anything with heat. I mean, I can use them with warm water for rinsing if it's something that requires that, but I wouldn't pour boiling water into one of these. You can use like a steam pan like you would have from like a catering dish. And you can put those across multiple burners, and so that allows you to lay your skeins out a bit straighter. How many colors will I be picking from? I haven't counted them, so I have a lot. I don't have the full collection. Like I don't know if I have many of the reds, but I've got pink. I've got all the blues and pink. So yeah, I haven't pulled them out and counted them yet. But I'll put a list of what all the color options are in the video description once I get that started to set up in the morning. And did we? Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think we sold out. Oh, okay. Should I? Well, I think. Okay, I think I'm gonna go ahead and add 2 more. Let me do this right now. Let's see if I can do it. Because you guys are so awesome. And hello. Okay, I'm like new enough to, Etsy, edit variations, number 7, number 8. Update. And, okay. Oh, okay. So this is what I have to do. I can have all the other ones show up as sold out. Yeah, so I'm gonna open up 2 more, and then maybe I'll do 4 pots at a time. So then we'll do 2 rounds. All right, I just put it back up. I put it back up, and now I'm curious. I've never reactivated a listing before, so I'm curious if it's the same URL. But thank you guys. I'm glad that you are all so excited about this as I am. Oh, cool. It did show back up in the featured listing. And yes, it looks like it's the same URL. Woohoo! I'm really excited. And the nice thing about having a lot of you guys purchase this tonight is that I can, first thing in the morning, put everything into pre-soak. So I read about non-reactive containers to dye yarn. There will be a long period in the dye bath. Maria, I think that I would need to do a little bit of research. There's certain kind of metal pans that maybe you don't want to use with certain kinds of dye, like maybe aluminum pans, because the metal could interact with the dyes and etc. in a specific way. But I use a stainless steel pot for most of my, that's my dedicated commercial dye pot for non-food safe stuff. And that's the one when I start doing some more mordants and stuff. And I do have the intention of trying to extract the tannins from my rhubarb leaves soon. I have a lot of rhubarb. I need to make some sauce. So yeah, a podcaster said the other day to add some gel to the acid dyes. So guar gum, or adding some kind of thickener to your acid dyes, is a way that you can hand paint with less bleeding. So for example, if I was going to hand paint with Wilton's Violet, it would break in from like the fuchsia to the bright blue. But if you add enough guar gum to it, which it's not quite a jelly at that point, it's just thicker, you don't really see as much breaking. And this is helpful if you're doing stenciling on a blank or something, or if you just really want really, really sharp colors. So yes, a metal container could act as a mordant. Like you can use like rusted nails as a mordant and stuff. Do I have plans to use a crock pot? Absolutely. I have plans to explore some different heat sources than what I've tried. Yeah, so, okay. I'm not even sure how long I've been on, but, all right, let's see. All right, so I talked about this is the cotton boucle that I am over the moon for. But so that was 100% cotton, and here is the sock yarn, the Stroll sock yarn base. So the colors spread a little more on the wool yarn. These were done with a tie-dye. But overall, the tone, there's a lot of similarities in them. So I was very, very excited. So there's a new category in the shop, and that is yarn that has been hand-dyed and hand-spun. So this one right here was featured, I think it was dyed in, okay, the spinning video is on the website. So I think maybe it was Dye Pot Weekly 6. This is a broken black roving that I spun into a 2-ply yarn. There's another one in here that was featured in a video. Not that one. There's only 4 hand spuns. And, oh no, where's my, this one is this video is very popular. This one wasn't done in a live stream. This one I filmed on the DSLR. Wait, where am I? This was what was the dyeing? Well, this video is the spinning broken violet video. And I think I braided I braided the roving and then put it in the Wilton's Violet. I don't think it's the one that I dipped. I don't remember if it's the one that I dipped or the one that I just let lay on and kind of soak in. But it's one that I love. And I think, I mean, I know it's 100% wool, but I think it may have had a slight gray base. I'm not sure. And then there's this one, oh, I over dyed, hand dye roving and dyed it in a braid. This one was I speckled the roving with food coloring, and it's this like really like autumn pastel shades. And so I thought I spun these for the Kickstarter in case someone picked it up, and so, or in case someone picked one of the rewards that involved hand spun. And you know, these have been sitting in my stash, and I figured, I'd add them this time. So that's actually what I was working on today as I was running around. And I'm realizing I can't see the comments again. Yay, rhubarb. Woohoo! Thank you, everybody. As I'm waiting for this to load up, this is the Bear Lindy chain, which is awesome. Thank you, Dee. Thank you so much for participating in our mystery surprise special. I don't remember what I named it, but I am so excited. Yeah, so this is the Lindy chain, and it's funny because it's definitely softer. You know how if you dry a cotton t-shirt, air dry a cotton t-shirt, then it doesn't feel as soft for a little bit, but then when you handle it, it gets soft again? The linen blend seems to do that similarly. But here's the linen next to some 100% organic cotton, and they took up dye really, really similarly. So I thought that was a lot of fun. And that's one of the videos I am most excited about coming up. This guy, who doesn't want to stay wound up right now, is a semi-solid from the Dye-a-thon. And then, okay, so here's a cool video that's coming up. Is this the unbalanced one? I have it written on here. So I did some speckling in that steamer pan I mentioned with Kool-Aid powder. And, okay, bag. There we go. And so here's the yarn. I used a bunch of reds and pinks, and there's more color in it than is showing up on the camera, for me at least. But when I did this, the Kool-Aid struck so fast that I had to move the yarn around a lot more to try to get a balanced yarn. And I was actually concerned about it, so I decided to reskein them to check the balance. And of the 3 that I dyed in the pan, 2 of them were really well balanced, where there was pretty much the same amount of speckling on one end as the other. But then there was one that is, like, it's cool because like one end of the yarn has a lot fewer speckles and the other end it's a lot heavier. So this unbalanced one would be really good for a fade project because it's not necessarily a gradient, but it's got that fade going on already. So I thought that was fun. And then we've got some more cottony speckles. Yeah, there's a lot more cotton. So if you're looking for the cotton yarns, they are in their own section. They're in their own section in the shop. Just so that way because I know some people can't use wool, so they will search for cotton, and therefore, yeah, I decided that was what made sense. But here is one last really, really pretty one. This was a space dyed yarn. Space dye might be a little generous, but I, in one pot, dyed this with the Dye-a-thon hand dye. So, and I actually used one of those plastic basins that I showed before because this is a no heat kind of dye job. So, but it's really, really pretty. And so, yeah, I think one of the nice, some of those cottons just came out beautiful. One of the things I really enjoy about doing the shop updates is sometimes when I film a new video, it takes a really, really long time for the video to get published. Because you know, just the regular 2-a-week schedule. I have, you know, things, I'm setting up some for September now, but I leave some gaps in case someone gets one of the like sponsorship slots or something. So I have some like gaps saved that I fill in. But it's sometimes hard to not share things with you sooner. But I don't want to completely spoil the videos. But with the shop, it's like, aha, since I always include the video title in the listing, then you know you can get a sense of how I did it. Although sometimes it's funny because the titles, like, there's, so this 100% wool yarn is from the Can You Dye Cotton Yarn with Kool-Aid video. But that cotton, which did not take color, is not for sale because well, I guess it technically is because I over-dyed it. But yeah, so it's sometimes the title might not make sense with what the yarn is. But I use this to show how much color we got in the wool versus the cotton. So yeah, but I am really, really excited to just have fun and dye a lot of yarn tomorrow. And you guys are all going to be getting some really, really pretty yarn. I hope you guys are excited. Oh, and I hid the chat again. Yeah, so all of this is a nice big bag that I think I got it at, like, I think TJ Maxx handed it out at Black Friday. That's the only reason why I have like a Christmassy bag. But I like these big bags for storing yarn. After I sign off, I'm going to go upstairs and I have these plastic bins where I have the shop organized. And so these will make their way into the organizational system. But yeah, thank you guys for jumping on board with this mystery stuff. I think that we'll have fun, and I am really excited. And the thing that's also fun is because there's so many different yarn bases that we'll be using, like if we were to do the same mixture on Wool of the Andes worsted and on Swish DK, the breaking might be different. You might see like the overall thing can be the same, so very similar, but there can be some differences. And so, for example, with the hawthorn, I have not yet, and one of the things I need to do soon is to do a side-by-side comparison of the hawthorn and the stroll with broken violet. I am near the end, but you're not way too late. How do I sort and organize my yarns? Well, the nice thing is that my yarn is all a little bit like my children. So the one thing that's good is that I can pick up a skein and I can pretty much remember the video and like how I dyed it. I do label all of my yarns. So they all have, they all have the like fiber stuff. And then on the back, they'll have the video that they were featured in. So that way, like, that makes it, I think, fun for whoever ends up with the yarn, and it is a nice reference. With the shop one I need to resort things. So I pretty much have like a bin of sock yarn, a bin, and I guess I have 2 bins of everything else. But I mostly keep like all of the Wool of the Andes base yarns together. And I have all of the 50-gram pairs of sock yarn. Those are all kind of in one little spot in there, so that way I can keep track of it. In terms of bare yarn, the things I buy in 20 skein bags, those I have like one of the huge boxes I got from Knit Picks, and those kind of are in there like a file folder. And then as it starts to empty, I'm like, ooh, I need to reorder one of, whichever one. And then I have 2 other, they're these big, I love these big plastic bins that stack. I have one that is all wool yarns. So for example, actually I'm not sure if Stroll Glimmer would be in there, but it's all the superwash wools, miscellaneous 100% wools. Nylon blends can be in there as well. So like my Chroma Twists would be in there. And then I have a separate bin that are the varied blends. So ones with silk or cashmere or alpaca, or at one point cotton, were all in that too. So what I don't have yet is a good system of inventorying the bare yarns that I have. So the question is, do I like making my own sock blanks or buying them pre-made best? My preference is to buy them. I like the Knit Pick sock blanks. I think they unravel really easily, and you know, I think that the one downside with them is that they cost more. But you know, at some point it's a trade-off. I think that if I weren't doing as many, then I would make them myself. But like in the last sock blank special, I tried to really do a mix of homemade blanks and the commercial blanks, so that way I know that with a lot of my viewers, the homemade blanks are more popular because of the investment in them is a time one versus a financial one. So that makes sense. Would you consider putting the episode number in the product name when you list on Etsy? Ooh, I could potentially. Yeah, you know, I was actually disappointed when I realized that the descriptions weren't searchable, because I was like, oh, if I put, you know, Dye Pot Weekly, blah blah, in the video description, then people can search to find that. But I learned that I had to even put just plain ChemKnits in the tags, so things would show up if you typed ChemKnits. And so what I can start doing, Ada, is what I think might be a little easier would be for me to start adding in the tags, for example, Dye Pot Weekly number 6 or something. And so maybe that's something that should, I'm going to write that down actually. Hold on, I'm going to go get my handy dandy planner. See, I've got a new, rather than random sheets of paper that go around everywhere, all right, I'm gonna start doing that in the tags. So yeah. Another question: will we start be seeing any roving soon? Yeah, sure. I don't know if I have any coming up, but I need to do some more spinning, and I'd absolutely dye some more roving. I did in the Kickstarter offer roving as a choice for people, but I ended up starting to feel really, really nervous about sending it out and if like people would be disappointed in the condition of it or anything. But people sent me pictures of what they've spun, and so some of it's really, really awesome. Yeah, so I have some bare roving waiting for color in my stash. So there are plans for more. It's my list of video ideas keeps growing, which is not a bad problem to have at all. It's a very good problem to have, but it means that things sort of ebb and flow. But I do. I'm going to add. Let's add this tomorrow. Put roving. Okay, I'm gonna put roving on the schedule so I make sure I can have. I'm gonna like make a slot. But the one problem with the number with doing Dye Pot Weekly is since it's a numbered series, once I export the video and commit to the number, I can't really shuffle them. But I do reserve certain slots for things. So, see, this is good. I mean, I want to make the videos that you want to see. And I mean, I also want to make the videos of things that I enjoy doing, and I really do love roving. And so I've got, oh yeah. Oh, do I have cotton roving? So my first indigo vat is coming up next week. next week is when I'm going to set up my first indigo vat. And this first one is a cellulose fiber vat. And I might at the end, when it's like almost done, toss some wool in, but the reason why it's really only for cotton fibers is that the reducing agent is something that would be absorbed by wool yarns. And so then you'd have to add more of it, and I think that would drive the pH lower and lower, which wouldn't necessarily be very good for the wool yarn. And so I ordered a lot of other cottons to over dye, and we're going to have a lot of fun with that. And then I'm already thinking ahead to like my second indigo vat, which could be a more wool-based one or something. But yeah, there's so much fun stuff coming up. I really, really, well, I guess you guys are aware that I love what I do. And I think that we have a lot of fun, and I'm really, really grateful for all of you in the ChemKnits family for, contributing suggestions, because it really does, sometimes things get delayed, but I have a running list of requests and suggestions, and I just haven't had dyer's block, I guess, in a while, so I haven't referred to it. But sometimes I'm constrained a little bit by like the schedule for the week. Like I try to do, if I want to do like non-food dyes, I try to do that in a Tuesday, Wednesday, because those are 2 days in a row when the kids are at school, so I can have like a section of stuff. Like I normally keep all my dedicated dye equipment, not the dyes, but all the like pots and stuff in the shed. And so I have like a whole little system. Well, I'm glad you love what I do. It's fun. It's funny when I think back to like the kid that I was, and in some respects, it's like, it makes sense that this is what I do. And so I'm having a lot of fun, and I'm glad that I've been I haven't read the book Leaning In, but I did decide this fall when Ryder started school that I was going to really lean into this, and I did not realize what support that I had, and so thank you all for believing in me and encouraging me to go outside of my comfort zone and explore new things. So yeah, this cotton boucle. So I'm planning a dyeing project that probably won't be on video at all. But Lucas and I think one of his best friends who's allergic to wool are going to dye yarn together. And so I'm working with his mom to see what base she'd want. But I'm recommending this one for the kids. And so what I'm going to do is we'll do this outside. I'm going to get tie-dye, put in little cups with sponge brushes to let them paint that way. So that's my plan. But that'll be one of the first times I'll be dyeing without the cameras rolling in. Well, I guess at the Kickstarter when I did a bunch of Dip Dye Broken Violet off camera. But it's more fun doing live streams. Because you guys ask great questions, and sometimes they inspire a standalone video that then is helpful. So anyway, thank you all for joining me tonight, and I think there might just be one mystery slot left. Yep, number 8 is the last one that's left, and yeah, I don't think I'm going to expand it beyond that, but since this was so popular, we might be doing something, maybe not this exact theme, but maybe we'll do some other fun mystery things in the future. So thank you all for joining me. And today's the last day of the knit picks. Like you get some free yarn with a minimum purchase sale. You can get some free with $50 purchase Alex or Color Mist, or with a $75 purchase, you can get some provincial, I can't talk tonight, tweed or luminescence. We'll be seeing the ChemKnits soon. There was one out, they're in 2 videos recently, some tie-dye t-shirt videos, which I know that the tie-dye audience is sometimes a little different than the yarn audience. Yeah, but so that free yarn deal, and do I have, okay, I'll just drop, drop this in. Oh, that's too long. Okay, that's the Knit Picks like free yarn deal, which, you know, I placed an order and missed out on, but I think I need to order more stroll tonight, so, and maybe Wool of the Andes, so I'm gonna have a mega unboxing coming up. Oh, I'm sorry, I missed that. What surprised me in the cellulose week? I think what surprised me the most was how much I enjoyed dyeing the cotton yarns. I don't typically use a lot of cotton yarn, and so I just didn't, doing the cellulose week made me look at the tie-dye and try to think outside the box a little bit. And so using the dry tie-dye powder is awesome. And I love it. And honestly, I might never go back to the bottles because I love, love, love the effects you get. It spreads, it doesn't strike as quickly as like an acid dye would on wool, but it spreads out, and the way it mixes together, it's just gorgeous. And I loved it enough that I tried it on the t-shirts. And so those were the videos I did recently. And so, yeah, that really, really surprised me. And I think that the week also helped me get more comfortable using the dry powders of different commercial dyes. When I first started using like the Jacquard acid dyes, I was so nervous for some reason. And yeah, and now I'm excited to like try to play around with speckling. Uh-oh, was that the last one? Some speckling of some of these powders as well. So you guys have sold out the pre-sale. So I guess all the rest of the stuff is a little moot, but thank you guys. Thank you for selling this out. But yeah, so the biggest surprise of the cellulose week was how much I enjoyed it and how much I enjoyed trying to come up with different dyeing methods from these dyes that I had used before, but on cotton yarn. And so I think that there is, I think that there's not a lot of indie dyed cotton yarn. There's not as much cotton that's been dyed in the fun, unique colorways that independent dyers do, as there are wool yarns, for example. So yeah, I think that was the biggest thing. And thank you for reminding me. Sometimes I get distracted. And okay, webcam, you're like, I don't know where to focus. But okay, so now, even though it's sold out, let's see what the yarn bases that we're going to be doing tomorrow. Oh, this is great. This means I can like prep tonight. Okay, so we've got a Swish DK, Surprise Sock, worsted wool, Stroll, DK Superwash, Surprise Sock, and another Stroll. Like, this is a great, and thank you for your purchase. Yeah, this is awesome. Now, so tomorrow when I'm doing this, I'm not going to say any names associated with your purchases for your privacy. But if you're watching the stream and you're like, you know, woohoo, I love my number, I'm so excited for my number, whatever it is, then, you know, I will give you shout outs while I'm doing that, if that makes sense. But yeah, thank you everyone. This, I am blown away. I think I went into tonight being like, I was like, okay, you know, this brings the fun level tomorrow to a new level. So I hope that we will all have a lot of fun. And yeah. And hey, guys, now I've made 60 sales. So I hit a milestone. So thank you everyone for joining, for purchasing pre-orders. I think that, yeah, I'm going to go start getting ready for tomorrow. So, but again, you know, we have sold out. We've sold out of the pre-sale for tomorrow's live stream, but there is a lot of new beautiful stock, and I've shown some of it tonight in the shop. So there's a lot of other stuff available, and yeah, I will see you in the morning. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your evening. Good night, everyone. Then I always laugh because it takes me a minute to like say goodnight and then go and find the button. Good night, guys.